Welcome back to the DFSG Plus YouTube channel. On this show, we cover touchdown props for any given week of the NFL season. This week, we've hit week 14. So without further ado, let's drop that intro and get into our plays for week. Hello. My name is Axton Harding, and as I mentioned off the top, this is the DFSG Plus YouTube channel. We carry all kinds of prop bets from college football to the NFL and many other things on the website as well. So go ahead and check that out. Check out our other YouTube videos, the DGen Docs. Definitely provide a good source of content for your sports betting needs. On this show in particular, as I mentioned, we cover touchdown props on any given week of the NFL season. I usually hand out 3 or 4 or 5 guys that I like in particular on any given week, lay out the research that I've done to place the bets myself. And if anything speaks to you guys, feel free to tail. Otherwise, we're just kind of purely looking to entertain and hopefully add a little bit of fun to your Sunday football watching needs. So hopefully we can cash in a few props this week and put some extra scratch in our pockets. So let's go right into it, and we'll talk about our 4 plays that we've got for this week. To start it off here, we've got Courtland Sutton with an anytime touchdown coming in at plus 150 against the Las Vegas Raiders this week. The Raiders have allowed the 5th most touchdowns to the wide receiver position so far this season at 15. They've also allowed the 2nd most touchdowns in just the last 4 weeks at 6 touchdowns to the wide receiver position. So we're looking at both season long and recent trends, which both insinuate a great matchup for the wide receiver position. Sutton himself has caught 5 of his 10 red zone targets this season and converted 2 of those into scores. He's second in the team behind Troy Franklin for red zone targets, but teams seem to have caught up to Franklin recently, kind of shutting him down a little bit, giving him less attention, allowing Sutton to have more attention, which he capitalized on last week, finding the end zone after a little bit of a cold stretch there. So I think he finds himself in another encouraging matchup this week to do the same and carry that momentum into week 14. So I love Courtland Sutton in this spot against the Raiders. Plus 150 for that anytime touchdown. Now let's talk about Chris Rodriguez, number 2 on the list of anytime touchdowns for week 14. Comes in at plus 160, and he plays the Minnesota Vikings this week. Minnesota touts one of the better overall defenses so far this season. However, there are some areas we can exploit. Notably, the recent stats allowed to running backs over the last 4 weeks. They've allowed 5 touchdowns to opposing running backs, which happens to be 4th most in the NFL over that time. They've also coupled that with the 6th most yards allowed to the position as well, at 463 yards allowed to running backs over the last 4 weeks or so. So recent trends show that the Minnesota Vikings are being pretty generous to the running back position, especially as they get in close and in scoring position. Rodriguez has pretty well taken over the laid-back role from Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt over the last 4 games. He's also been the preferred goal line carrier as well for this team, nearly double the red zone carries of anyone else in the Washington backfield at 11. I believe the next highest was like 6 touches inside the red zone. He scored on 3 of those attempts and got 4 touchdowns on the year. And he's got 3 touchdowns in just the last 4 games and 4 touchdowns in the last 6 games. So Chris Rodriguez being that laid back there in Washington at this point, he's kind of on a good little streak here of touchdown scores over the last 6 games or so. 4 touchdowns in the last 6 games, and the stats that I mentioned earlier. Chris Rodriguez finds himself in a nice spot this week. Now let's talk Mark Andrews with an anytime touchdown at plus 160, playing at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. After a bit of a cold streak over the last month or so, even falling short of a touchdown in a top matchup last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, Mark Andrews finds himself in another great spot to bounce back here in week 14. Playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have given up a touchdown to tight ends at the 3rd highest rate this season. 7 touchdowns to the position so far this year. And Andrews is far and away the favorite target for Lamar and all Baltimore quarterbacks so far this season. 11 targets inside the 20, leads even the top wide receiver red zone target by 5 passes. And he's converted on 4 of his 5 catches into a score. So he's hitting for every catch he catches inside the 20s, cashing in at an 80% rate. So we're looking at a very efficient red zone target when given the chance. So a great matchup, great usage at a great price means we have a great opportunity here. So I like Mark Andrews for an anytime touchdown plus 160. Now let's talk our last play here at Dalton Kincaid with an anytime touchdown at plus 220. And in this week, he plays the Cincinnati Bengals. Kincaid has dealt with injuries for much of the season, but seems ready to play in week 14. It just so happens that he finds himself in an outstanding matchup, so I think this is an opportunity for us to capitalize. He's far and away the Bengals are allowing the most touchdowns to tight ends so far this season at 13 tight end touchdowns given up to this point in the year. That's 5 more than even the 49ers, who have allowed the second most at just 8 tight end touchdowns in 2025. So they've also allowed the most yards to the position as well at 1,121 tight end yards or receiving yards to the tight end position so far this season. Second most is just 865 yards. So they pretty well let tight ends run loose. It's pretty insane the difference in number 1 and even number 2. This team just doesn't know how to guard the tight end position. So I think recent trends are kind of showing that they've been a little stingier, but I don't think that's going to hold up for very long. The season-long statistics kind of speak volumes. So I think they're bound to make a mistake here anytime now. It sounds like Kincaid is going to be just as good as anyone else to find the end zone this week. And in 8 games played so far this season, Dalton Kincaid has scored in half of them. So he's scoring in about 50% of his games. And I think we're finding ourselves in a nice bounce back spot here. On just 3 red zone targets this season, Kincaid has converted 2 of those 3 to touchdowns, converting at a very efficient rate. I think we're looking pretty encouraging here for this Week 14 matchup. And he's also capable of making plays outside the 20, scoring touchdowns outside the red zone. So, he's a big play threat, big target inside the red zone. So I think we're looking at a best possible matchup, and at over double your money in profit, Kincaid is in a great spot this week. So let's wrap it up here again. Courtland Sutton with an anytime touchdown at plus 150 at the Las Vegas Raiders. Chris Rodriguez with an anytime touchdown at plus 160 at Minnesota. Mark Andrews with an anytime touchdown at plus 160 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then Dalton Kincaid with an anytime touchdown at plus 220 against the Cincinnati Bengals this week. That's going to do it for our Week 14 anytime touchdown props. If any of my cases or angles spoke to you, feel free to let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you guys found some entertainment in this show. Let's hope we can cash in on a few of these and put some extra money in our pockets and have a good week of football, betting football. Excuse me. So good luck out there this week with all of your sports betting. Again, set a limit and stick to it. Be responsible with your gambling. None of these are going to call for your rent payment by any chance or by any means, but hopefully we can have a little extra fun here as we watch football this Sunday. So again, good luck out there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you back next week.